of it. We'll see how tough it is.
Okay, I got to start streaming. We're almost late.
Almost late is the same as on time.
I know, but we're actually late. I just didn't want to say it. Okay, should be streaming now. Okay. Turn this off. Get this out of my ear. Oh, man.
I was going to ask you what that was.
Just my mini Bluetooth.
Have you been listening to a podcast all this time?
Your Pixel Bud?
Yesterday, I listened to 26 hours of podcast. The day before that, I listened to 27 hours. But if I don't have any podcast, there's playback stats. Let's see if it'll tell me. But like today, there just wasn't as much. 22 hours, 49 minutes today.
Oh, my white balance just went crazy.
Okay. You guys can go ahead and start your Audacity. Oh, no. Do you want to take care of see if that will fix itself, Mark? There you go.
It was weird.
Confusers.
Yes. Ready when you are.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Let me actually launch Audacity. Then I'll be ready.
Then you'll be ready.
No.
So you're ready to launch Audacity. Got it.
Ready to go.
Okay. Go ahead and hit record in 3, 2, 1. Record. Test.
Test. Well, I'm low. Turn it up. Tap it up a little bit. There we go. That's better.
459. I mean 489. What?
496.
That's the one.
Eric, do me a favor. Bring up Mark Surratt watch face.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do.
Okay.
Let
me hit the trend.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Android App Addicts, episode 496. This is the show where we talk about Android apps, Android hardware, and whatever else happens to cross our minds. My name is Mark, sometimes known as the Sultan of the Soapbox Cockrell, and I'm flanked this week by two co-hosts. We're breaking some sort of federal law, I think, right now. Eric, the executive, the great one, the man himself, Arduini, and Steve, the DoorToDoorGeek McLaughlin. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, Mark. I heard the last show, and yeah, I was wondering if you weren't going to be back just to keep it going. I'm glad you're back though. I can leave. I didn't really like that. Two weeks in a row, and this is much better. We're bringing band back together, man.
Yeah. Well, the government shutdown is over for 2 weeks, so we can all be here.
Yeah, we don't have to go scrambling and make sure our fallout shelters are clean or anything like that this week.
I've got a friend who works for the Dallas court system in Texas, and her government shutdown lasted like 6.5 hours. That was her full experience.
Yeah, I only know one guy, Rob Flacco Hair, where he's in, the windy state right there next to Texas. Oklahoma. He works as an air traffic controller or in air traffic controller realm. And he just posted like one thing on Twitter saying, I'm loving the government shutdown. He was like drinking beer, playing old NES games. And he didn't get a chance to do that for too long.
Yeah, Oklahoma's only windy because Louisiana sucks, by the way.
Okay. I will say now, February 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, Eric, Arduini, and I are going to be in Orlando, Florida. Mark might be in Orlando, Florida. So there's more than likely going to be no Android App Addicts episode that week, which unfortunately I do think would actually run in exactly to show number 500.
I will be taking my Sony recorder with us, though, just in case there's a chance to do some kind of impromptu thing. I'll have that packed along with us. So I don't know. I think I've taken it other places. I've never used it then. So, but I'm still going to bring it.
I'm going to make a friendly wager with you of a beer, sir, or some beverage that pretty much everybody there we see is going to have iPhones. Something tells me that. I'm just guessing. So I don't know how much Android stuff we're going to have to talk about, except for our own personal Android experience.
Yeah, I don't. What's the percentage? Anybody know the percentage of iPhones in the world versus, or in the country versus iPhones and Android?
It's about 50-50.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like all Androids combined are about 48%, and all Apples all Apples combined are about 48%, and the rest are the rest.
That makes me sad for the other half.
Mm-hmm.
How does half the people all like the same thing?
Eric, were you not paying attention during the last presidential election? Because kind of the same thing happened. Just saying.
I didn't buy an Android just because I totally hated the BlackBerry that much and do it in spite. I didn't buy a Tizen phone because never mind. I'm not even gonna try to figure that out.
Unfortunately, I have a work thing that got shifted to that week, so I was hoping I could take some days off, but I might be able to zip out right after work on Friday and hang out with you guys on Saturday. That would be something I'd like to do.
That would be cool.
That would be awesome. I'll tell you that. The only other person I know who's going to be there is Steve Cherbino. So if you remember ye old Podnutz owner host, and you are in the Orlando area and you would like to just walk up to him and call him and just say, "Sup, Churbs," he will be in that town.
And if you forgot what he looked like, you can also go bringing back Apple again, but you can go on iTunes and watch the movie that he is actually in, and that's called The
Messengers.
The Messengers. Yeah, it's a movie about podcasting on iTunes that he's in that. So that's pretty cool too. And I just watched it. I've owned it. So I pre-ordered it, and I just didn't have a device to watch it on forever, and I just finally got to watch it like last week.
I'll just
he totally loves it when people call him Churbs. So
he does.
Yeah.
And I'll say to anybody who watched that, I'm going to do everything in my power to try to find the ladies from the PMS podcast and just give them high fives.
Yeah.
And that just put the podcast screeching halt.
Well, I don't know if it was PMS though. I think it was the whole cycle, not just the P part of it.
That's a great name for a PMS podcast, the whole cycle. That's awesome.
Well, I can't remember what it was.
They've got a clever name. They do.
It was really clever. I will say that.
It's not like Ant Flow Show or nothing like that, but it was still pretty clever.
Yeah.
We could probably come up with a better one, but
oh yeah, it ain't.
We just came up with two actually.
I know. So let's just stop there. We've won. Okay, now let's move on. I will say, I will say this is maybe the quietest week in anything sufficient, I'll say, Android related news-wise that I've heard. Because I do believe Mobile World Congress is coming up in maybe a week or two. So it's been like ridiculously quiet. Android is Android. People out there are still posting all kinds of crazy articles about Android malware. Yet I feel like that John Travolta meme gif where I'm looking around, where's all this malware? I don't see anybody having any effect of it. And everyone we communicate with, nobody seems to have any actual encounters with these malwares. But these articles make it sound like they're everywhere.
Well, I have a little bit of hardware news.
But before you go on, Mobile World Congress, I just Googled it, starts tomorrow, February 26th, and ends next week, Thursday, March 1st. So
Thanks, sir.
Does it say who's headlining that?
Samsung Galaxy S7 will be announced. Right now, putting money on it, and they are going to officially kill Bixby because they should.
My deputy clerk uses Bixby a lot. She likes it.
Eric, there are people in this world that marry goats and love them. Does that mean we all should?
I'm not saying
Just
No.
because somebody out there loved it doesn't give it any more credibility than the next. Britney Spears won Grammys. Okay. Does that mean she's a better musician than the other people? I'm going to say no.
So does
All right,
this,
Eric,
does
tell
the
us about your
same, what?
Tell us about your hardware, Eric. I just didn't want to go down the Britney Spears.
No, I'm still going there now. I don't even remember what I was going to say.
You have new hardware. News.
Oh, no, I don't really. I was just
Oh,
saying that. No, I was at a conference in Schaumburg, and it's across the street from the biggest mall in Illinois. So my first day, I had some time to kill in the morning after I went to the bank and got turned into a treasurer of another organization. I went to this mall and I tried out the Microsoft. Well, they got a Microsoft store and they had an Apple store, and I visited both of them, because there wasn't a Google store, unfortunately. But the Apple store was packed, crowded, people just sitting around waiting for their turn. It reminded me of going to like a US Cellular store, and we walk in and somebody with an iPad says, "Oh, what's your name?" And they're like, "Okay, sit there for 2 hours or however long it takes us to get to you." And they're just doing that. Sheeple, man, I tell you. So then I went over to the Microsoft store and I couldn't there was just no customers, tons of employees. And I was like the guy at that hour that came into that store. So I checked out some of their new laptops and the Microsoft Surface, the big desktop, it's like a 21-inch screen that folds down into like a flat desk thing. Nice. It would be nice for like doing some Fusion 360 designing on it or something like that. It'd be really good for that. Very expensive. Dell had one just like it, but had big speakers sticking out the front of it. I guess that's for music producers or something. But then I got to try the mixed reality because there was absolutely no line for that. They're like, "Oh, this thing just sitting over here. Hey, introducing Windows mixed reality. Come try on a headset and hold these lighted up joysticks in your hand." So I'm like, "Yeah, I'm down." So I checked it out, and it wasn't bad. I mean, I've done the VR thing with my Android phone and Google Cardboard and stuff like that. Basically, I watched a 3D movie, like where you're just like a part of a film crew, and that was actually crappier than most of the ones I saw on Android. It was swimming with dolphins, and the resolution was horrible. It did not look good. But the game they had there was you're just kind of standing on a planet, and there's little drones that fly up, and they're shooting at you. And when they shoot at you, you got to like move and bend your head over to the side to dodge their bullets. The bullets come at you in like slow motion, so you do have a chance to do that. But you got the mixed reality joysticks, and you're putting them up in the air and shooting them down. And so it was a pretty fun game.
Thousands of dollars worth of technology and years of research to play dodgeball.
Similar, yeah. I mean, you could probably get it done with about a $600 computer and a $200 headset.
Nope.
Well, the one I had on was not a real expensive. And the computer was maybe $800, but the headset was only like $200.
Yeah, the video card was pushing $800, which I'm very happy to say the death of VR is imminent now because cryptocurrencies. I did not see this one coming. Cryptocurrencies have crippled the video card market. Prices for video cards have, I don't want to say gingerly, skyrocketed because everyone's buying them for cryptocurrency. So now if you want a game, you got to pay between 25 and 40% more for the same video card versus 6 months ago, which just jacks up the price of virtual reality PCs. Still, if you want to get good 720p virtual reality, you're spending easily $800 on the computer, closer to $1,200 complete on the unit. And for that much money, why? I just don't. I'm telling everyone now, I've said this now off and on for over a year. You're going to go into a guy's house, you're going to look over. Before, you would look over and you would see a steering wheel and a pedal, and you would think, oh, that's that guy who still has that stuff around to play those video games using those controls, because nobody else does it. You're going to go into a house, you're going to see somebody with stupid things set up in the corner of their room and a little VR headset sitting on the table, and you're going to say, oh, there's the guy who bought into this, and he's still having fun playing it. And it's not a bad experience. It's just not going to catch on. We are still too early. I'm going to say 3, maybe 5 years out, again, they're gonna try this all over again, and by then they're gonna try 3D TVs again and curved TVs again and virtual. This is such a gimmick. This is just doing nothing than driving markets, trying everybody's fighting to make money, and everyone thinks this is it to make money, and so far, nobody has made money.
I can open up that tub right over there on the other side of the screen and get that force feedback steering wheel pedal combo set. And there's a great feeling. And like the force feedback joystick you used to have for the
Yeah,
airplane flight simulator games and stuff like
yeah,
that. Great feeling. It's just
they're cool.
yeah, I don't have time to break all that stuff out to play a racing game.
And that's the thing. That's the one reason why I don't see them taking off is while yes, I do believe we have more leisure time now than we ever did as adults, but at the same token, ain't nobody got time for that. If you can afford $1,000 plus computer for gaming, you're probably too busy working.
Yeah, right.
If you want to combine, say, the Nintendo Wii bobblehead guys with the stunning graphics of Second Life circa 2007 and your media library, you could strap on a set of Google Daydream goggles and watch the new Plex VR while we're talking virtual reality.
Yeah, and I'm not
drop this week.
and I'm not sure I get that either. Even though host of the mini PC show Brian has and does watch complete movies, normal movies, not VR movies, normal movies in VR headsets, and I'm thinking to myself, don't you like your family? What the hell? I don't understand how that's an enjoyable experience. I mean, I like Fast Times at Ridgemont High as much as the next guy, but I have zero desirability to watch that in VR.
Now, if that was on an airplane, maybe, or something like that, that would be a pretty cool experience. You put your headphones on, you put your goggles on, and you're watching, a 90-foot screen. I get it. But
the Samsung headset has the speakers built into it, or headphones built into them too. So I don't know, one less cord, I guess.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say by this time next year, foldable phones will be making more money than VR.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I did want to see, I've heard about like the virtual desktop, the Windows, a whole operating system in the VR world, and that was not to be found. I even asked. No such thing.
I mean, I expect that at some point the promise of Google Glass will be made, and I'll put on a pair of glasses, much like these I'm wearing right now, and that will be my desktop environment, and I'll be able to interact with it, by moving things around. That seems logical to me. That seems to me like the thing that'll take off. But we are so far away from that. We are not a computer generation, but a human generation away from that.
Yeah. So for now, look forward to the fingerprint behind the screen. That's going to be cool. Look forward to some kind of foldable phone. Maybe by the third generation of them, they'll actually make sense and they'll actually work how we expect them to, and they'll be good. But literally for the next year on the mobile market, the only thing I see is 6+ gig phone in RAM being the normal. Hopefully we get 4,000 milliamp batteries as the normal. I could care less about refresh rate. I could care less about screen resolution. Last thing I need is a 4K phone, for dear sake. But I do think, I hate to say it, by the end of this year, I do believe to find a headphone jack on a phone is going to be a very difficult proposition.
That doesn't bother me. I use Bluetooth. If I'm using a headphone, it's a Bluetooth headphone. It doesn't bother me all that much. I understand wailing and gnashing of teeth, and we fear change, but yeah, it's let it go. I don't miss the floppy drive either.
I thought I might miss it. I've been 3 months now with this Pixel 2, and I've never been like, man, if only I had a headphone jack right now. I've never found myself in that situation. Now I don't have a Square card reader. Do they have a Bluetooth version? That came up today when I was talking to somebody, and I remember that I had to use that went through my headphone jack. So I imagine they have, it's been years since I used a Square, so I imagine they probably have a Bluetooth version for that now. or USB-C.
Yeah, they have like Bluetooth thing you can basically like put next to your phone, and you can get it free 2-day shipping with Prime. $47. Oh, okay, $47 from at least Amazon, with the official seller being Square itself. So yeah, and of course these are chip readers. First and foremost,
tap to pay things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Future. Oh, sorry.
But think about it. What do you really need from a phone that you don't have now? You need more of the same, right? It's like in the desktop world, Intel pretty much got to the point where the best they could do was cram more cores on a chip. And that's been the case for a decade now. There's been no innovation. It's just cramming more cores on a chip. And I just think that's where we are with the phones right now. We're going to have this exact same device, in 8 years. We'll have a better battery and a faster processor, but it will look just like this.
They could make some kind of technology that reads forward and monitors what your usage is and try to guess what you're gonna do next.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a thing maybe that we might see. I would say Pico projectors. I wouldn't mind having one of them every now and then. Better speakers, better battery life. That's about it. Yeah. But there's so many things. You know what? 4 years ago, there's probably things on my phone that I use daily now that I didn't even think of then. I mean, there's always some guy's going to come out with, or girl's going to come out with some great killer app, and we're going to love it. And we're going to be like, man, I can't believe my phone never had that before.
Thank you for political correctness and making sure that we're equally represented by saying "or girl."
Well, did you see all the chicks in the chat room, man? That's what I'm saying.
Here we go. Went downhill really quick. I will say, I do think Eric is on to something. I do think the only interesting thing that's going to happen in the next yearish of phones, it's not going to be hardware. It's going to be a combination of hardware and software. Like the folding screen, there means screens are going to be of a different format size. They're not going to be 16:9 or 4:3. So we're going to need software to maximize the difference you get with that kind of thing. And that's what it's going to take. I mean, because now almost every phone has almost the exact same features. The only thing that really differentiates is quality of camera. Is it a 9.8 or is it a 9.9? Because almost every phone seems to be at least a 9.5. And stuff like NFC, which it seems like 90% of the people really don't care about, and then 10% of the people are obsessively passionate about it. I don't know what it's going to be that's going to actually drive people. Hopefully, it's better experiences on the device. I don't know.
And I have been using NFC a lot now. I got my PayPal account hooked to my Google Pay account. Oh yeah, So Door's holding up an NFC button array.
Yeah. Can't remember who it's by.
Like 4 buttons that you can just stick to the back of your phone, and then you can program each button to do whatever you want. But I've been using Android Pay a lot, and I brought this up a couple weeks ago, and just using that for all of my loyalty cards and payments and everything. And somebody's paying the juice on my convenience. I'm not paying a surcharge or anything, but somebody is. But I dig the convenience of it.
Yeah, Android or NFC specifically because of Android Pay has become a must-have feature. I won't buy a phone that's not NFC again. Having experienced that, there's only a handful of retailers where that works, but it's spreading. It's getting to more and more places. And you just, especially with the latest version of Android Pay, which came out maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it is literally tap and go. You don't have to do anything else. You used to do some sort of extra interaction on your phone, this one, your whole phone has to be unlocked, right? So that's really all there is to it. In my case, it's a fingerprint unlock, tap, done.
Now, I was at the gas station today, and I was the first person who's ever, I was at a Shell, and they've got fuel rewards, and I don't have a fuel rewards card. So I'm on my Android Pay, I'm at the pump, I'm trying to type in this 25-digit long number in there. And I get through it, and they're like, dreaming, that wasn't even close, or we ran out of digits for you to type in. We were really looking for a backup phone number if you had that. So why don't you just pump and then go inside? So I pumped my, well, that's not bad. I pumped the gas, went inside to pay with cash, like back in the day. And I took out my phone, and I'm like, they're so used to the fuel rewards being a credit card where somebody swipes it. I handed her my phone. I'm like, can you scan the barcode on here? She's like, she took my phone and scanned. And then her and 2 other Shell employees were like, wow, that was really cool. I've never seen anybody try to do that. And then so I paid with cash, but then as I'm walking out, they're like, oh, remember that one guy who always comes in here and just taps his phone? I want to get a phone like that. So it's coming around. People are starting to get used to it and see it.
The newest ATM at my local bank branch has a contactless reader on the ATM. I just swipe my phone over it and enter $20 and money comes out.
Nice.
Oh, that's the downside. But Eric, this is not an accusation of any magnitude. I just want to let you know, moving forward, if you do encounter police of any level and they see you have any cash on your person, even in some jurisdictions more than $40, they are basically taught anybody with cash on them exceeding X amount, and sometimes it's very low, it's literally like 40 or $60, must be doing one of the following activities: buying drugs, going to strip clubs, or doing some other kind of black market activity. So it's just a little bit of a warning to make sure when you have money in your pocket, you have explicit plans ready to tell people of uniforms and badges.
I'm going to be for a Craigslist deal.
I don't remember what the qualifier before that sentence was, but hey, Dor, do you like chicken pot pie?
All 3, yes. Oh wait, no. Yeah, it's not an accusation, Eric. I'm just saying, because my dad was a cop, so I know these kinds of things. In like Baltimore City, if you have more than $60 on your person and you don't say you have it explicitly to go there and buy something, they are taught to assume you are in the middle of going to do it in some sort of illegal activity. Keep your eye on them, or check them really good.
Yeah, this is just, I like my phone cash. So if I get rolled, they're not going to steal my phone because I'm actually going to have cash. Here, take this, boys. Leave me alone. I'm still listening to a podcast.
Dude, how much do you think the average phone gets on the black market?
I don't think much, because they're locked, they're trackable. There's nothing.
Well, first off, yes, you can have the phone locked. It doesn't mean anything. FBI are part of the people who brought this technology to light, where they can just basically plug any phone up to this. As long as the phone is powered on, cycled on, and you get through the initial first-time password entry of a phone, they can suck all the information off of it. And the average dollar amount is around $125 to $225. And especially for a phone like yours, you got a popular phone. They can break that down into parts, go on eBay, sell it for easy $100.
Yeah, but the thug who's mugging you is going to take it to somebody and get $50 for it.
Yeah,
yes. Will turn it into $200. But the guy who's holding you up is going to get $50 out of it.
So if I got $30 cash, that's probably a compelling argument for his. He's going to actually have a moral dilemma for the first time in his life, and he's going to try to figure out which way to go.
Right. And I can tell you, because I've had, like, I don't want to say nightmares or dreams or anything, but I've had instances go through my head where I purposely think, if this happens, I have to, as quick as I possibly can, reboot my phone.
Oh.
Because if the police official takes my phone and it's during the first reboot process, I haven't entered my password yet, the fingerprint reader will not work on my phone. If you take my good finger on first boot, touch it to the fingerprint scanner, it still insists to put a password in. And I'm guessing a lot of Android phones do that.
See, you need to set those NFC buttons. If you hit the top one and the third one down at the same time and hold them for 5 seconds, it automatically does that batch runs, and your phone's locked and reset just like that.
That's a good idea.
We came up with this app on the Geek Rant a couple of years ago. That we solved this problem, where you have two security patterns on your phone. The one, the pattern or password that unlocks it, and the other one that immediately switches everything in your phone to My Little Pony icons and themes.
like a second user on the phone with everything.
Yeah. So when the police say, can I have your phone? Sure, you unlock it. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, you do 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's all My Little Ponies. And and you're good.
And then the cop high fives. Hey, Brony, how you doing, bro?
Right.
You go to the convention.
The two quickies. One, then you have a problem with scale, Mark. Once you get too popular, then every cop knows what's going on. But two, I'm happy to hear Geek Rant is back. And I gotta say a really quick comment. You starting this show with very passionately stating how these kinds of things are going to change in the show. As a podcaster, let me tell you something. I love when a podcaster does that for one reason alone. It shows genuine passion and caring about the product, that you are not settling with, this is the way we've done it, this is the way we're going to do it, we're not going to do anything else. Just accepting the fact that we're going to try to make some changes in the show shows me you are just trying to make it better, which is the kind of thing that I love seeing. So thank you very much.
So you're changing the name back? No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's now called We Don't Give a Crap. That's the title.
Who are you talking to?
Since this show is called Android App Addicts, maybe we should do some Android apping. And Eric, since you were gone, I'm going to let you start us off.
Oh, thanks, Mark. I'm going to start us off with an app that I used this weekend or last weekend. I was at the grocery store before I left on my trip, and an actual retired officer of the law came up to me and started chatting, and he said, have you seen this wine? I'm like, yeah, I don't really drink wine. And I thought he was showing it to me because it was called 19 Crimes Wine. And each wine bottle has a different person who's been incarcerated. And the link is in the chat, I think, unless I fell out of the chat room. Let me reset that. Reload. So the name of the app is called Living Wine Labels. And it's an augmented reality app. And if you buy one of these bottles of wine and you hold your phone up in front of it, one of these 19 criminals who were incarcerated in England and sent to jail somewhere in Australia will tell a story of his incarceration. Just a really short story of it. But basically, the guy on the wine bottle comes to life. His head's moving around and he starts talking about his crime that he did. And I thought that was kind of neat. The bottle of wine I had to buy was like $10, so it's pretty spendy for. I think that's a lot for a bottle of wine, but I don't usually drink, more than like $3 wine. But it also
we'll
works.
Get back to the, but I want to talk about wine for just a moment. I'm not a wine guy. I don't drink alcohol. I don't enjoy the flavor of alcohol. And I was going to a friend's house over Christmas. And I was going to bring a gift of wine because I know that he's a wine. I mean, he enjoys wine. And I was like, I don't know what to bring. Should I just stop in at like Walgreens and get the stuff in the box, or what is the appropriate gift of wine? And then I realized it's like giving a NASCAR fan the wrong driver on a figurine, or giving, an Eagles fan a Redskins helmet decal, and so I realized that I just couldn't buy any wine at all because it would be the worst thing to do. This, however, is an excuse. It doesn't matter what's in the bottle. It's what's on the bottle that matters. So I may buy several of these just for my gift giving opportunities.
So I was with a bunch of wine drinkers. The city clerks are notorious for drinking wines, and they all were cheesing about this thing. They thought it was pretty cool. So I think I scored a hit. And we have like a prize table, and everybody brings something to give away, and that was the thing. But yeah, it's pretty neat, and it works with the Walking Dead wine and a couple others too.
So here's what I don't get: what does the criminal have to do with the wine?
It gets you to buy the wine. That's what it does.
Yeah, it's 19 Crimes Wine, and there's these 19 guys that got sent to Australia.
See, I mean, I would have expected wine when I think wine, with my finger under my nose pushing it up, wine. I would have thought that you pointed at the wine bottle and then you hear a French guy talk about the delicate nature of the grapes and how we wait for the perfect time of the season and we only use 14-year-old female feet to crush the grape ever so gently. I mean, I thought we would hear all kinds of, no, you hear criminals. I mean, that's confusing.
Well,
Drink the same beer?
It says that coming soon there is Behringer Brothers it's gonna work with that, and they'll say a journey back to 1895 to help the brothers capture a moment in history, and then Chateau Saint Jean, watch the chateau come to life as winemaker Margot van Staveren narrates a magical day at the estate. So that may be closer to what you're thinking.
Yeah, and I'll say here's a good thing. If they do the AR right, they don't need buy-in from the manufacturer of the wine. Because all it is pattern recognition on the screen, and then you pop it in and you show something else. So it isn't super difficult, and you don't need them to cooperate whatsoever. So I really do like the idea of this, and I feel you, Mark. Every time the wife asks me to go buy a bottle of wine, she's like, "Oh, well, give me a barefoot." A barefoot what? That's that's like saying, "Give me a beer. Give me a soda, Mark." There, what the hell, wasn't it? And my wife does this with everything. Whether it's, can you pick up a thing of ice cream? What kind of ice cream? Well, no, I don't know. You tell me the exact thing, or I'm not buying it. Same thing like with the wine. If I'm going over a friend's house and they like wine, they better tell me the size of the bottle, the brand of the bottle, the make of the bottle, and what color the label is, just to be sure. Because I'm not getting the wrong stuff. That is offensive. I've seen that in the past.
So the 19 Crimes red wine blend, 750 milliounces, is sold at my local Walmart for $8.12 a bottle.
That's the exact one I bought. Not the same store, though. Well, yeah, so, it was red wine.
And here's the thing with me. You heard how the venom, the spewed right out of my mouth talking about VR, because I think it's caca, poo-poo. Yucky. AR I still think is cool and has a long, glorious future with these devices because it fits it, and it's something you can very easily share with somebody else without getting a forehead full of sweat.
Yeah. And the one thing is, it left you wanting more. I mean, the story was just short enough that you're like, that didn't really tell me what you did a whole lot, but I might buy another bottle of wine and see what the next one does.
So just one more tangent, I promise. One more for this 5-minute segment.
Sure.
It frequently comes up when I'm surrounded by other adults that somebody will offer me an alcoholic beverage or somehow talk about drinking alcohol, and I always tell them I don't like alcohol, and inevitably we go down this road about. Well, is it a spiritual thing? Is it a religious thing? Were you brought up in a fundamentalist household? They always want to know why I don't like alcohol. If I'm in the same group of adults and I say I don't like carrots, oh, okay. Yeah, so I don't know.
But have you tried these carrots?
Right.
Because if we're in Orlando together, I'm like,
you're really gonna like. You need to try this carrot because you're gonna like that carrot. And so I finally come up. I've only tried it a couple of times now at a couple of social gatherings over the weekend, but I think it works.
Yeah.
I now don't say I don't like alcohol. I say I don't like ethanol. So does it have ethanol in it? I don't like it.
Wow.
Is it wine? Is it beer? Is it vodka? Does it have ethanol in it? I don't like it. So
that really messes with me. Even I didn't even ask you the question. I'm like, what? Yeah, that'll stop them right in their tracks.
See, Mark, I will say this. There was an old show on TV called Kids Say the Darndest Things.
Yeah.
And really what it should have been called was Kids Sometimes Say the Most Intelligent Things. I'm just going to say this, Mark. Maybe you should take a little bit of guidance from my youngest son. My youngest son insists he hates peanuts of all kind. And when I say all kind, he thinks almonds, cashews, they're all peanuts, and I hate them all. He loves peanut butter, though. So what he just tells everybody whenever someone asks him do you want this? Do you want peanuts on your sundae at the restaurant? No, I'm allergic to them. He just says that. They don't ask any other questions. Because the first couple times he said, I can't stand peanuts. Oh, well, these are good. These are honey roasted. No. So just tell people I'm allergic and they will just shut up. And then And then, like, when he eats peanut butter in front of them, they go blitzkrieg freako, thinking he's going to die, and he thinks it's hilarious.
Starts stabbing EpiPens in his leg and stuff.
Yeah, he thinks it's hilarious. And I'm like, dude, you got to stop doing that. But he figured out how to get people as quickly as possible to stop badgering him. He's the guy, I hate to say this, he's the guy who in 20 years is going to go into a restaurant and say, yeah, I'm gluten intolerant, and he's my kid. All I'm going to be able to do is just like put my palm in my face and just,
Okay, I promised it would be the last tangent, but I lied. I had a friend growing up. Her parents were Jewish, but they weren't religious. They would just, their families had been Jewish. They'd been brought up in the Jewish culture,
but they were just Jewish.
Weren't religious. Yeah, they were just Jewish-ish. And so rather than go down the whole religious road, they told her from birth that she was allergic to pork, so that she would eat pork. And so that was all that was. She was like 30 years old, and we were at a gathering, and she was eating a piece of pepperoni pizza, and I said, I thought you were allergic to that. Well, I'm allergic to pork. That's what's in that, And so she went back and asked her parents, and they were like, yeah, we just didn't want the confrontation, so we told you were allergic to pork.
I love those parents. Look, and this is what I tried to explain to my son the other day, because my oldest son came to me, I'll just say he told me something, and I tried to explain to him, look, nothing in this universe is absolutely black or absolutely white. Almost everything is some shade of gray. And where that shade of gray is depends on your own personal viewpoint. And you're my son, I support you. So you have to decide, is this completely wrong, or is it just kind of wrong, or are you okay with it? Because it ain't completely wrong, it ain't completely right. And his mind was just blown.
I always gave my kids, your guys' kids are actually getting to that age. I told them, I go, if you're ever in a situation where like drugs are offered and you decide you're not going to do drugs, you can always blame me and just tell them, hey, my dad drug tests me, so I can't. And I told him, you can make me the bad guy, whatever you want to do. Just you can say that.
Yeah, we have my 15-year-old. We have a code. She can just text me the letter Q in a text message, just the letter Q, and that means call me and tell me it's time to come home. So if she gets in a difficult situation, she just sends a quick text. So Q for quick exit. And so then I call her, and then she can blame it on me. My dad's being a jerk. I got to go.
See, I was expecting it was going to say something like Vandalay Industries would be the message or something like that.
It's got to be something she can do just subtly as if she's checking an email. See?
Gotcha.
Nice.
All right, so there we go. 30 minutes, one app. One more app, another 30 minutes of jargon, of play. Dor, what do you got for us?
This app, I'm very first off happy to say, is not completely unique. I like competition is key with everything in computers. That's just the way life is. And I'm very happy to say on this podcasting network, mostly every host, I'm fairly confident in saying, knows what DuckDuckGo is. For those who don't, DuckDuckGo is an extremely hard-edged, privacy-focused service, web service. It's a search engine. What happens is you go to them, you perform a search. They then perform the search at places where you can actually pick Google, Bing, whatever, and get those search results back, but they don't pass your personal information to those other services. So it's anonymized, at least to a degree. Nothing's perfect in this universe. If you expect perfection, just put a bullet in your head now, and then you'll be happy, because it doesn't exist. These guys do the best they can possibly do to basically take all your personal information out. Okay. That was their goal for the longest time. And they proved they could make money off of non-targeted search results. And they've been in business for years. Well, a couple months ago, I brought the Firefox Focus privacy browser to the show. This is basically the exact same kind of concept, except you're using DuckDuckGo completely. So you open up the app, you get nothing on your screen, just a search box. You type your search, it gives you your search results, or you type in your URL and it goes directly to that website. And then on the very top right-hand corner, you have two things of interest. You have what looks like a flame, where if you click that flame, it will give you the opportunity to clear all your data. all your cache, all your cookies, all your everything. So hypothetically, if you click a tiny URL on twitter.com and it takes you to Amazon, where the guy is just so happens tries to hijack your Amazon affiliate code to use his. Well, if you open it up in this application and then when you're done, you hit that flame, it will then get rid of that cookie and you'll be back to using whatever Amazon affiliate thing that you want to use. But secondarily, it has a B in the top where if you click that, it will actually show you all the things on the page that is being blocked. Again, these are mobile devices. They're not built and designed with your privacy in mind. But these kinds of apps at least give you a window of opportunity of privacy when you want it, or anonymity.
No, you nailed it, man.
Okay, that it gives you that for at least a couple minutes, whether it's because you're clicking a tiny URL on someone's page, or whenever you open up the Reddit app, you want the links to come through here, or whatever. Everybody has a need for this, and if anybody tells you you shouldn't have anything to hide unless you're doing something illegal, give them the address, mail at podnutz.com, tell them to contact me. I'll give them my address and I'll ask them to come to my house so I can punch them in their face, because they're completely wrong when they say that.
You know, this app must have been around for a while because I have not used it, but it says that I had it installed before.
Yes, no. Basically, the exact same URL existed where it's DuckDuckGo.mobile.android, but it is a completely different code base. This is how the Android market works. When you first design an application, when you first go to submit your application, they give you a unique key that you stick inside of your app that then indicates this is this app. You can completely change the rest of the code base multiple times, but you can still identify it with the same SEO and the same targeting and the same URL. So that's the one way around it. So what they did was, before, it was just a search engine. You would open the app, type in your thing, it would search DuckDuckGo, and then when you click the link, it would open up your Chrome or your Firefox or whatever. Now it's the complete browser in one. So it's technically the same app URL, the same registry in the Google Play market, but now it's a new app with many more features, and it's installed on my phone.
I like that these guys are in Paoli, Pennsylvania. That's pretty cool. You don't see that too often.
I have to read a review here, because if I had to sit down and write a joke review, I don't think I could do better.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure this guy was serious. So Drew LeBeau says, excellent search engine. Edit. I had to remove 3 stars as the latest update removed a widget for the search engine bar. I was restored to 5 stars when this was returned. Edit 2. I've brought the rating up to 4 stars because the widget was re-added. However, within the app, the feature that allows you to view a web page in your primary browser is still gone, so I've not returned it to 5. Edit 3. I've tested the functionality of the Assistant and elected to remain with Google Assistant despite my preference for searching with DDG. If increased Assistant functionality is added to this, would be good, though he completely overran the limit to the number of things. But so Drew is a thorough reviewer, if not a thorough writer of reviews. And he broke a promise. He said he'd give it 5 stars. And then
This is the internet, Mark. You can't trust people. And just really quick stats I forgot. The name of the app explicitly is DuckDuckGo, all one word, privacy browser by DuckDuckGo. It's under tools, 25,600 reviews, completely free to install, no ads, no in-app purchases ever. This is DuckDuckGo with the average review of 4.4, 17,000 5-star reviews, updated January 25th, 2018, installs between 1 million and 5 million installs. And I will say this one more time, and then I'll hopefully never say it again. If you're listening to another show that's technology focused in any shape, way, or form, and the host does not know what DuckDuckGo is, you really should email that show and let them know how anybody involved in technology should know how to do private searches on the internet, because incognito tab doesn't do it, bro. Okay. Period. They don't do it. If anyone knows anything, incognito mode merely means your search results will not be visible from the normal browser window. Google still knows who you are. they still will cater the search for you because you're using the same IP address. Dummy. There's nothing private about incognito mode.
Well, that is not entirely true. You get very different search results in an incognito mode. And then
wrong. Mode. Log out of your browser, log out of Gmail, log out of Google, do a search, launch incognito mode, do a search. They will still give you the exact same search result.
I'm telling you, logged in, I get one search result.
Because you're logged
incognito mode, I get different results.
Because you're logged out. It has nothing to do with incognito mode. It's just because you're not logged in.
Well, that still makes it valuable. If you want to divorce yourself from the Google stuff to see what your search is, it's still valuable. I mean, let's face it, incognito mode is porn mode. Everybody knows that. But there is value outside of that. It's just not private. I mean, again, I'm not arguing with you that it's not private, but it's not fair to say that there's no difference.
And they know it's you because it's the same IP address.
Fine with me.
Okay,
so if you're not going to be that different.
It's very different to it. It's very, very different.
No, you're still going to get the same political type bubble results.
If you're on DuckDuckGo privacy browser on your Google phone using Gboard, and your Google phone is registered to you, they know that you installed this.
You do not use Gboard. When you open up Firefox Focus or DuckDuckGo, it uses its own keyboard.
But just because you're on, just the fact of being on a Google Android phone, you don't think that they know everything you do. They can't know everything that you do on that phone. I don't have any secure thought that they would not know everything I do on this phone.
The reason to use these browsers are just to keep things away from your normal browser cache and cookies. That's my primary. Or if you think you might get wantedware, because I will say in the last year there's been at least half a dozen people at my work who thought they've had malware on their phone. All I do is I say, give me your phone. I open up their browser, I open up their app info, I clear data, clear cache, give them their phone back, everything's fixed.
Okay, so yeah, okay, I gotcha. So it's good for your use case as far as using somebody's affiliate link, but you're not going to hide from anybody if you're doing something nefarious on an Android phone with.
You would need. I'd just like to break in for a moment and say that, let you know that my drying cycle is complete. So, IoT for the win.
That's good. So
nice.
What kind of sensor did you use?
It's built into the washer dryer.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
because we were talking to somebody else this week, so I'd say that. Everything has its purpose. I will say that everything has its purpose. The question is acknowledging what the limits of these tools are and using them for those purposes. I get upset when I hear people claim I'm using this for privacy's sake, and I try to explain to them anonymity, and I can't even think of
anonymity. You did it right the first time, but
I did it right one time.
Privacy
is a very broad sweeping word, which actually entails a whole bunch of different things. And to actually get actual privacy would require like installing a whole new ROM on your phone and then VPNing to like Poland.
Yeah.
And then bouncing from that VPN to China.
From the library's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And then never using a credit card.
And making sure that you're actually remoted into another computer with different fonts installed and different browser plugins and different screen resolution. I mean, to be actual private and to hold one of these devices or use a desktop machine or a laptop machine, you are on drugs. It just really can't happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't want to give anybody a false sense of security, thinking that they're.
Well, I'm just so upset on Android. In my experience, because I use my phone a lot, if all the people with the ridiculous URLs doing tagging and flagging and trying to hijack affiliate cookies for all kinds of websites. I always say Amazon because they're the most popular ones, but I've seen literally hundreds of different websites where I go to and they're basically, I see the URL and I see how they're hijacking this without telling me that, this link contains also my affiliate code in it.
I always just assume that.
You have to these days, yeah.
All right, let me read an email. I generally recommend that people keep emails, short and to the point. But Randy started saying that Mark is right. So when you start your email that way, it can be as long as you want it to be. So pro tip there. Randy says, hey guys, I'm a brand new listener and I thought I'd share some thoughts. I've gone through 2 episodes. So when he said brand new, he really meant it. And when I heard, I think Mark talk about his Fire tablet, I knew I was in the right place. Any moron can spend thousands of dollars on tech gear, but I take it as an intellectual challenge to get the most for my money. I'm a retired electronic engineer, most of the time in semiconductors. I've worked on everything from Z80s to 68,000s to x86 to ARM processors. I'm a big fan of Fire tablets based on their value. I use them to read ebooks, watch videos, a bit of email and Twitter. For my use, they're great. Actually, my first Fire was the Fire 6, which I still use for reading. But it's the size of a paperback book, and I can hold it and read it with one hand using my thumb to turn the page. I have everything in between, including the huge Fire 10, but my Fire 8 died. I have a 128 gig micro SD card in the Fire 10 with pretty much everything backed up on it other than videos. The Fire tablets are great for downloading either Amazon or Netflix videos for viewing later, so it's a good idea to keep a larger USD card in them. The dirt cheap Fire 7 works great for watching videos on trips off the network, and if you kill it or lose it, so what? I'd say that the Google Play Store works at about the 95% level. Good enough for most things, but I always install apps from Amazon if I can. As an ebook reader on tablets, even though it's not an Android app, I strongly suggest Calibre. I use it on Windows. There are lots of add-ons for it, and one of the best apps ever for ebook users. It does everything. Edit books, file format conversion, library management, everything. And if it doesn't come with the app, it's an add-in. There's an Android app that talks to Calibre on a Windows machine. For audiobooks, the best app is OverDrive. Their new app Libby, you need a valid library card from a library that supports OverDrive. Since Microsoft killed their DRM server, OverDrive now only supports simple MP3 audiobooks without the evil DRM, and that's the best kept secret. On the latest podcast, you spoke about kids learning to program. I agree totally. No matter what field of study someone studies, you can make yourself much more valuable if you can program a computer. I'm a Python hacker for many years, and my suggestion for younger kids is BBC Microbit. And he's got a link there to Adafruit.com. It's a very inexpensive $15 from Adafruit and other places. It's by far the easiest computer I've ever seen to start programming. It has switches and a tiny display, etc. It runs a cut-down version of Python called MicroPython. You can plug it into a Windows computer with the USB cable, install the IDE, and go. It also comes with a battery pack so the kid can disconnect from the PC. The IDE is basic but complete, and it has a flash button which sends your program to the microbit and executes. It's limited in what it can do, but a kid can set this up themselves, type 2 lines of code, and see the results. Incredibly simple. I suggest you pick up one up for the kids. If you aren't familiar with it, forgive me if you've talked about it. I'm new. Also, I strongly suggest the Raspberry Pi. It has the best support of any computing device I've ever seen. I run mine headless with a larger flash drive or use it for all kinds of server and desktop apps. I'm terrified to download Windows apps anymore, save for things like converting file formats. All these utilities are available for some Raspberry Pi from their server, safe and free. I use mine on my Android device for things like DNS server, ad blocker, and sometimes when I need to do some sort of desktop computing function. It's designed for kids, but you don't have to be a computer expert to use these things. I agree with what was discussed about cell phones. My personal uses for cell phones are very modest: email, Twitter, SMS calls, and a ton of audiobooks and podcasts. I take a few pictures, and I'm not that picky about the camera. I was looking at buying a Moto G of some flavor for Black Friday and was having trouble deciding which model was best for the money. Then Amazon had a sale on the Moto E Plus for $136. I had to try one for that price. I took it to Verizon store with my old phone. They gave me a SIM card to install. That was it. Minutes. I can listen to audio on my wireless earbuds all day, lots of email, Twitter, etc. And late night, and the battery is about 90%. And it shows 3 days left. I never use NFC, so I don't care that it doesn't support that. The screen is fine. The CPU is fine for what I do. Not fast, but doesn't lag. It's an incredible bargain. The whole phone is much more than my wife spent. The whole phone is not much more than what my wife spent for a glass screen protector for her Pixel 2. I picked up and installed my glass protector for $7.95, and that was trivial to install. Not for everyone, but a great bargain. Finally, have you ever discussed the little NFC buttons you can buy cheap? If your phone supports NFC, there are several apps that support NFC buttons. So you can wave your phone, buy a button, and do things like turn things on or off, etc. Pretty easy to use these. Whew, I need a break now. You guys talk.
Yeah,
Good job, Mark.
I will say really quick, the NFC tags, the ones I have was suggested by a very, very good friend of the network, Chuck, and it's Dimple, Dimple. Very, very affordable. I want to say this was like the $14 model, maybe $17, where it's 4 buttons on it. The back is stickable adhesive, so you can stick it to a case or phone, and you can pull it off and put it back on more than a couple times, and it still works really good. I love the idea of those buttons, kind of like I don't have any IoT around my house because I'm perfectly fine with walking over and flicking a switch. I haven't put that on my phone yet, and I cannot tell you why I haven't, except I just don't. I don't know.
I would need those. Actually, I just recently I had my Christmas lights hooked up to smart plugs, and now Christmas is over. I had to figure out what to do with the smart plugs. So I hooked up my studio lights to them. So I can say, hey, Amazon, turn on the studio lights. But the problem is the Echo is in the other room. So I have to do it before I come in. If I put one of those dots right there when I walk in the door, I could swipe my phone across it and the lights go on. I need that. That's a thing. Because this little room I'm in doesn't have any overhead lights. They're all plugged into an outlet.
I want to thank Randy for that email, man. He'll learn. He's only listened to a couple shows, so he'll learn that we do like the shorter emails, and we used to have people who would write longer ones. We ended up banning them, and they don't get to listen anymore. But we wouldn't do that to Randy.
Mark is right. You're okay.
Yeah. Well, that helps. B, the long emails weren't just long, but they were nonsensical, and they typically started with "you're wrong." If you start an email like that, don't look forward to getting a great warm fuzzies back. I'll say.
I know people who've listened to 200 episodes and haven't written in an email, so I appreciate that, Randy, very much. Thank you, sir.
And I'll say, Randy sounds much more knowledgeable than the average person, and yes, that was a direct suck up, than the average person when it comes to mini computing. And what I will say to Randy is, you might like the mini PC show on this network where we do focus heavily on Raspberry Pis, Odroid CU, chip, EP266, and like the 8-bit. The beauty of the 8-bit and Python is, the 8-bit is technically supported and derived by, I believe, the BBC, which means it's funded and backed by the government, which means they can sell it for much less. Raspberry Pi is also a British thing. Raspberry Pi took it almost as a slap to them and that they came out with that microbit, but it's really cool. And let me tell you, Python is by far the most simplistic, near human readable programming language I think I've ever seen in my life. I am a personal fan of it. I wish I could use it at my job, but they tend to believe PHP and Python are extremely vulnerable and should never be on anything. So I'm sad.
Okay, so the people we've got a it's called a tub chat, where it's just a bunch of people who sit in the bathtub and talk to us in the chat. They are inviting Randy to the tub. So if Randy wants to listen live and join all of our friends in the bathtub, they're welcome. He's welcome there, they said. So that's cool. And I wanted to talk about, he talked about Libby by OverDrive. I put the link in the chat there.
Thank you.
So I had the exodus of Amazon. So one of the things that I'm also going to miss is Audible. I don't subscribe to Audible at the $16 a month. I always buy I usually bought a Kindle book. I'd buy the physical book, and then I'd get the Audible version. Now, usually if you buy an Audible book on its own is like $21 to $24 for some reason. You buy the physical book. I usually bought a used one around $5 to $10. And then you buy the Kindle book is usually around $12. But if you buy the Kindle book for $12, a lot of times they'll throw in the audio book for like another $7. So it ends up being cheaper than buying the audiobook by itself if you get the Kindle and the audiobook, which is nice if you want to go back and highlight parts and stuff in the Kindle part. So no, this Libby by OverDrive, and I've never went to my local library for an audiobook. I never thought about actually renting a book and not buying one. I don't know why I do that. I do like to own the physical books that I read, just to have them. I don't know, just like little trophies that I actually used my brain once. But I will definitely check this out. And so I did. I just bought a book. So this came up. I'm like, I got to read this book. It's called Shoots Like a Girl. And I went to Audible, and this was after the Exodus, which well, just another side tangent. Amazon charged me for Prime today, $99. Like, yeah, how that's some gall.
Told you.
So they did. Yeah, so they did. And I immediately turned around and asked for a refund. So I went to Audible. It was $21. But I'm just going to bring this app. I might be batting out of turn here. I might have to get 15 minutes in the penalty box, or 5 for fighting anyway. This is Google Play Books has just added audiobooks. So, and with their new big promotion of announcing this, I ended up getting the same audiobook that I could have got on Audible for $21. I ended up getting it for $7.99 off of Google Play, because they have a little like $5 off promotion going on right now. So that was going to fix me for this time. But in my next book, I will check out this Libby by OverDrive. I just installed it, and thank him for mentioning it.
Well, the Google Play Store now has audiobooks this week, but I haven't actually been able to find how to get to the Google Play audiobooks.
You got to go through Play Books. That's how I bought the one I bought.
So you open the Books app and search for audiobooks in that, because I went to the Play Store and couldn't find it.
Yeah, no, you go through. It's in the Books, and the player for it is the Books. This is the media player.
I am a huge Audible fan, so it will be interesting for me to see how these two compare.
It's got a decent interface. It kind of looks like books. I'll hit play on it, and it's got it sounds just like Audible. It's got the 30 seconds forward, 30 seconds backwards. You can speed it up at different speeds and stuff like that. It can go up to. It looks like it only goes up to two times. If you got a slow reader.
Right. Well, really quick. One, this is another reason Google opinion rewards can be nice, because you can get free money towards buying audiobooks if you want to leave Amazon, or you just want to use their service instead. But really quick comment on Randy's email. First off, thank you for the email. The length of the email shows enough passion. You've put enough in that bank deposit of Podnutz credit. You have a lot of credit now for a long time, Randy. But two, I am now a little bit wary about suggesting phones with lower internal storage, and it's getting difficult for me to explain. I think, Mark, you will immediately catch on what I'm trying to say. I have two containers in front of me. One is a cup. One is a gallon. Okay. Think of these as micro SD cards. One is 3 gigs. One is 128 gigs. Okay. When you have a lower volume phone and you shove as many apps as you possibly can onto the micro SD card, micro SD cards are built for only so many read-write cycles. Now, even though both of the cards might have the same number of read-write cycles, because of the number of placeholders, the sizes of those cards, the bigger card should last you for the same amount of activity 10 times plus longer. Okay. I've had now 3 people in hindsight in the last couple months complain to me about their Samsung, and it's always in Samsung like S5 or S4, something clearly 2+ years older, which means they have 16 gigs of internal space and they're terrified to use it all up. So they buy higher end, expensive SD cards, and they push every single possible app they can onto it. And they've literally gone through like multiple SD cards in 1 year because how much they're burning through the SD card. And it's the kind of thing, yes, you can technically now buy a 512 gig micro SD card on sale in like a week. and you will have more read-write cycles. So technically speaking, a larger SD card now than versus a smaller one, even though it's the same quality and same number of write cycles, it still should last longer. Am I wrong?
Well, there's one place I will correct you. SD, any solid state media like that, infinite reads are non-destructive. Writing is destructive.
Right.
As long as you're not caching data, as long as you're not using your flash for caching data, which that's all done on the internal phone. So the storage device that you put in should only be reading and writing when you're writing to it. So I mean, if the Android OS is behaving per spec, now there are times when you can move things off to the SD cards if you use, I'm not even going to say rooted apps. If you use non-standard apps, you can do that. So technically, you're right. There's more overhead for failure in a larger device. But at the if you're buying an SD card at Walmart off the rack, I agree with you. Buy the big one. But I don't believe it's worthwhile in most cases to pay the exorbitant fees to go from, say, 64 gigs to 128 gigs of internal storage on a phone. I think you get the lower storage on the phone and supplement that with external cards.
Right. And that was the thing. One of the guys in the Mattermost server, one of the cards was 128 gig. And in hindsight, it's the kind of thing, if he would have saved all of his money from his last 3 micro SD cards, he could have got an okay phone in its replacement.
No, go ahead.
And I'll just say that, I think, unfortunately, the freedom in the Android ecosystem is if a app developer is incompetent on how they treat some of the partitions, some of their storage paths on their application, I do think there are apps out there that are using app folders, data folders, like a short-term cache storage just because of the speed enhancement that you see. I'm sure there's not a lot, but I'm sure if you have a lot of apps on your phone, a couple are doing it.
I think older Samsung phones, I mean, I used to be a Samsung guy, if you remember. I don't have any SD card slot in the phone I own now, or have I in the last couple phones, but I really think like the file managers or something in those Samsung phones are probably corrupting those SD cards too. Because I remember that same scenario where I've had wasted a few SD cards, and I really think in some cases it's just some sort of a thing.
Well, here's the kicker, and I did go back and check with somebody else. The last 2 people who told me about Samsung phones killing SD cards, you take the SD card out of the phone, you stick it in a Linux computer, you can read the complete thing and pull all the files you want off. You just cannot write to it. So when you put it in the Android device, the first thing it tries to do is write to it. So it tells you that it's a failure. So while it looks like it's killing micro SD cards, put it in a different machine and take a look at it. And if you can read all the data, you know it's not dead. It's just reached its maximum number of writes.
And that's
I think I've also used some. I think I've also used some of these in the afterwards in a Raspberry Pi, and they worked. I don't think it killed them. I think it's just
the phone reached a certain point where it no longer had faith in the device.
Yeah.
Just to go down this road a little bit, because I think it's interesting. And on my other show, Geek Grant, we did a whole bit on storage, and I struggled. I thought for a long time to come up with the best analogy that a non-designer could understand on why solid state media is a destructive read. So I came up with this analogy. Think of it like we've all played with balloons, right? You blow up a balloon, you let the air out, it flies across the room, you blow it up again. Every time you do that, the balloon is a little less tense, a little less firm than it was. So eventually you blow it up, and as you stretch it, it gets thinner and thinner. It gets easier to blow up, and it's not holding. So the way those things work is you store a charge inside a cell. And the way you store that charge is by shoving a charge through a semiconductor. So essentially you're forcing air into that balloon. So think of that little cell as rubber, and you're shoving electricity into it instead of air. All right. And every time you do that, it stretches that membrane a little bit. It stresses it. So the way they work is charge is a 1, no charge is a 0. right? So that's the simplest way to do it. But in order to maximize storage capacity out of cheap equipment, the most multi-level storage devices, they call that because they store multiple charges. They'll store a 5, a 3, and a 1 or a 0. So you've quadrupled your amount of storage in that same cell. So 5 volts, 3 volts, 1 volt, 0 volts. The trouble is, as you start to stress that membrane, blow up that balloon over and over, the amount of tension in the rubber between a 5 and a 3 gets pretty hard to read. You can't tell the difference. It's stressed out. You can't tell whether it's a 5 or a 3. And then as it stretches more, eventually it just pops and it'll no longer hold a charge. So whether it was a 5, a 3, or a 1, it's now a 0 and will always ever be a 0. So that's why writing to SSDs, particularly multi-level SSDs, is a destructive act. And in order to cram as much storage space into the cheap media as possible, they're playing tricks with it. And those tricks get harder to determine, and the machine is doing harder work every time it has to do it. So eventually it gets to a point where it's like, I can't tell what the voltage in that cell is, so I'm going to mark it as bad.
Right.
That's why your phone will stop trying, whereas a Raspberry Pi or something else might be willing to give it another shot.
Right. And one of the beauties of SSDs of all kinds is on the old spinning disk, everything had to be in a certain spot, fragmentation kind of thing. On SSDs, if you read and write the same file 5 times back to back to back to back, in your operating system, it's going to look like it's in the exact same spot every time. But on the firmware on the SSD, it does what's called wear leveling, and every time puts it someplace else. So it tries to even the wearing out across the whole disk, which is why typically they don't gingerly fail. SSDs have catastrophic, it's working fine, and then boom, doesn't work at all. And the multi-level thing is the key, because internal hard drives on phones are of a much higher quality of chip versus micro SD cards. So you can get many, many more read-write cycles of confidence on the internal, which is why even now I'm more than ever saying to myself, I will not get smaller than a 64 gig internal storage on my phone ever again, because I want to wear out the more expensive stuff than cheap micro SD cards with having moderate failures every now and then. And I've been literally, I mean, seriously, people. Today I listened to 22 hours worth of podcast. Yesterday, 18 hours of podcast. The day before, 26-hour podcast. The day before that, 27 hours of podcast. So there's a lot of writing and deleting on my phone. I've had this phone now over a year and 2 months, and I still to this day cannot sense a sliver of slowdown on this device, and there is no SD card in it. I understand people wanting SD cards. I understand people wanting headphone jacks. You can want them. I am not a stickler on SD cards anymore.
Yeah, and the manufacturers, the good manufacturers, the people who charge a lot for their product, they understand that, and so your 64 gig card will have 180 gigs of storage on it. And the rest of them are just spares to swap out.
Yep.
The cheap ones, the guy that you got, the little card that you picked up in the checkout line at Walmart, if it says 64 gigs, it's got 60 gigs of stuff on it. It's not actually 64, and there's zero, well, that's probably an exaggeration, but there's very little room for error. So it just all depends on where you put your money, frankly. If you want your dependence, like in the device, the rig that I'm talking to you on right now, it's a Windows device with a solid state drive inside. I did a single level solid state device at 160 gigabytes, which is relatively small, but it's single level, so it's just charge or no charge. It's not trying to do the multi-level thing. So that will get me more. And it's a relatively small device, but the internals probably have about double that redundancy. Manufacturers don't like to tell you that, but sometimes you can dig up the specs and find out. In this case, I just had to make my best guess.
Good move.
So there you go. That wasn't about Android apps, but I thought it was an interesting diversion.
Well, hopefully that's one of the things we'll see in the next year that are an improvement on the average phone is eMMC, or internal disk quality.
Right. All right, let's do a couple of more apps. Eric, you, sir.
I've got an app that I think this must have been a big hit over on the iOS side, and a big deal. But it has recently come to Android, and it's called HQ Trivia Unreleased by Intermedia Labs. So at least once a day, sometime I don't know. I don't know exactly their schedule, but this is a live trivia contest that everybody who has this app installed on their phone can join into, and they ask like 10 or a dozen different questions, and as soon as you get one wrong, you fall off. So I played it 2 weeks ago at 8 o'clock at night, and like right now, as of this recording, the next show is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think it may be 2 and 8 every day, which on the East Coast would be 1 and 7 every day. Every day at 9 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So basically, we started out with 300,000 people playing, and as the questions came up, it's like a live guy. It was actually Jimmy Kimmel who was reading the questions the night I played, and he's watching the people fall off, and kind of interacting. There's a chat room going on the whole time, and yeah, it's kind of fun, really. And it's kind of a lot of anticipation of the game starting, and then as people start falling off, and the host starts making some jokes, it's a good time, and it doesn't take forever. I lost after the third question. I got the first two right, and then got the third one wrong.
I've heard about it. It's very popular.
Mm-hmm. Hey Eric, you know how you felt when you saw the new BB Tan game?
Yeah.
I don't feel anything like that. I despise these kinds of games for one reason alone. Ain't no way in any universe am I winning anything on this damn app, because they ain't asking no questions about Linux, no questions about malware, no questions about network security, no questions about Linux, no questions about podcasting, none of that. So this is never getting installed on my device. But there is another McLaughlin who I don't trust because she's a McLaughlin, who I will make sure knows about this app, and that is my sister. My sister was on Jeopardy. My sister on a phone thing back in 2012 won enough money to pay for her place in New York for a year, to have all the rent paid for a whole year, bought her husband a car, paid for a trip to Egypt, and she just lent my dad a little bit of money because she still has more money left over. She is the trivia person where I will show this to her, and hopefully she'll buy me something nice when she wins money, because I ain't winning nothing. And I'm the anti, I mean, if it's ever on the front of like any popular website like TMZ, or if it's ever on like the Colbert Show or Jimmy Kimmel Show or something, I want nothing to do with it. If you haven't picked it up by now, people, like Flappy Bird, like Angry Birds, like this, it's not my cup of tea, is the way I put it. It's cool for somebody else.
So do you guys want to know the question I went out on? I still remember it. It's a part of my sad history now.
Who created Linux?
No, no, that would have been, I might have got that one right. There was three, it's a multiple choice question, so it's three answers. And the question was, which one of these animals is not a real animal?
Okay.
We had the whalefin, the jackalope, and the liger.
Jackalope.
Liger's real. Jackalope, I'm tempted to say it's fake. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
The jackalope is not a real animal.
Well, because I love the idea of a liger or a taijin. That's the only reason why I know they exist. Male lion, okay. One lion, one tiger, male, female, switch them. And with one set, you have a taijin. The other one, you have a liger. One of them is small, very small with stripes. And the other one is literally gigantic, like 350 plus pounds. But neither of them can breed. It's kind of like a donkey. You know what I mean? How horses and donkeys. Yeah, horses and donkeys. Or horses and
Mules.
Mules. Thank you very much. So they're technically animals, but they cannot procreate.
Well, see, you would have went to the next level.
No, I'm not going under pressure. I would have guessed wrong.
All right, Dor, your app, and then we'll read the last email, and then we'll put this epic show to bed.
Okay, oh man, I'm really sorry for bringing this subject up now for all this stuff, guys. Okay. Net neutrality. I'm just going to put it like this. There is no right answer. Okay. There is no right answer about this. Stop screaming. Stop trolling. Stop memeing. Stop shouting. Stop tweeting and Facebooking how stupid everybody else is because this is how it. No, there is no right answer. The people who are expressly to free open internet, I then sit with them at work, for instance, and I say to them, that's great. Now, what if your mom is having surgery and the doctor needs to live communicate with 3 other doctors around the world? And what happens if their packets slow down? How do you feel about open internet now? Well, they all shut up.
I've got an answer for that, but
there is no right answer.
Well, the answer is, how much you pay for that surgery? They can buy a good pipe to get to where they need to go.
Easier said than done. But what if the 3 rooms down, they're all streaming Netflix or High IQ or whatever the hell it's called? Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not how the internet works. Free and open internet means there is no priority. Okay. And trust me,
right.
I'm more in the favor of that than a strict regulation everywhere. But I will say there is no right answer. Stop saying the right, because you know what the right answer is? Every time the government does anything, it makes it worse. Okay? That's all I got to say. Okay. Now this app will help you identify if you're on a network that is following net neutrality type behavior where they're trying to slow down or speed up or prioritize different types of packets. This is an app by the Tor project. And if anyone knows me, I don't trust the Tor project. It was created by the Navy. The United States Navy created Tor. So I don't trust it. It's a government project. But this is called Ooniprobe, OONIPROBE. It's been completely audited. All the code's been audited, which is why I trust it. You basically launch this app when you're on a Wi-Fi access point. You click the button, and it basically does a stringent set of tasks, and it tries to determine, are you on a network that is doing things with your packets to manipulate speeds and so forth. So if you are the type of person who's terrified that your packets are getting apprehended and molested and accosted and inspected and everything else along your travels, you need this app. You need to check it out. I installed on my phone and I tested on different networks I connect to. Oh, wait, that's right. I connect to my network and nobody else's, just to see what kind of results I get. I'm just interested. So I like this app for that reason. But please, we have to, in this country, stop screaming and arguing about everybody being wrong and how we are right. And we need to talk to people about why they came to their solutions. And then you can explain to them why you came to your solutions. And at worst case scenario, agree to disagree, but stop telling them they're wrong.
Oh, please think of the packets.
As a grizzled old network engineer, I get a little huffy about net neutrality discussions. Yes, I believe net neutrality is a positive thing, but I know for sure that bandwidth management is a necessary thing. Package management must happen. And if you conflate the two, if packet management becomes a non-neutral internet, then you're a moron and you don't understand technology.
Right.
And that's what it looks like this ooniprobe would do. I'm just looking at the screenshots, just reading the description. It looks like anytime there's packet shaping, it's going to scream censorship.
Well, okay. And to the people who are firm believers in the open internet, it could be called censorship as far as their belief is sent. But I'm the same way, Mark, because here's the thing. I tell the two of the people who were telling me how you have to have a free and open internet, blah, 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 blah. Then openly admitted to me that they QoS their kids at their house. I'm like, you're a damn hypocrite.
Mhm.
You are the worst kind of human being that's in this country right now. Because you QoS your kids. You slow your kids down. Your kids are now less than the average person in the United States. I'm ashamed of you. And I said, I hope your kids turn out horrible because you're making them horrible by slowing down their internet. You know, because that's the way most people are. Oh, you know, in my house, I want to control the packets. But when I'm on, I need to have the exact same access as everybody else.
I will say Google Whopper neutrality. Really good video, Burger King. It's a Burger King commercial, but it's a really good video that explains what the world could look like if a non-neutral net goes crazy. But I will remind you that net neutrality wasn't a thing in 2008, right? So the world didn't immediately get better when net neutrality became the law of the land, and it's not going to immediately get worse now that it's not.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark. It wasn't a real thing in 2008, 2007, 2006, 2005, 2004, 2003, right, all the way back to 1980, whatever. Or no, sorry, 99 was when the .com thing got lifted. And it did change a little bit. But and that's one thing I said to people. I said, how bad was it before? Really? I mean, really? How bad was it before? I mean, you got to understand, we have tremendous rights and privileges in this country. If your Netflix buffers, is it really like, you know, that severe?
Or you'll be happy and calmed to hear that Dick Durbin sent me an email today concerning this very topic, along with my other Senator Tammy Duckworth. Both in the same day. They're very concerned about this, along with you. So it'll be fixed very soon. It sounds like.
Anytime a politician getting,
I'm here to help.
Yeah.
A politician getting involved is like a sanitation truck pulling up in front of a bakery. Nothing good can come out of that.
Nice.
That's just the truth. Politicians corrupt everything. That's what they're born and bred to do. It's in their DNA.
Yep. That's why I said they'll have a fix for us very soon.
Oh, I'm sure.
I believe it was Mark Twain who once said, any man who wants to be president should be immediately disqualified for the job. If you want the job, shouldn't be yours.
He said a lot of good stuff.
One last email from our friend Michael. It says, good morning, gentlemen. I hope all is well. I have an Android device question for you all. As all three of you are value conscious, I think he just called me cheap, and I'm okay with it. I value and appreciate your recommendations when it comes to Android devices. So here's the situation. Point the first. I currently have a Samsung Note 3 32 gig. It's an AT&T model being used on T-Mobile. Great device, but it's laggy and often slow. I'm okay with it, but sometimes it does bother me. I've had this phone since August 2014. Point the second. I would like the Samsung S8 Active on T-Mobile, but don't want to pay the $130 down payment, but somewhat okay with a $30 per month for 24 months. Point the third. However, I can get a new Samsung S7 32 gig on T-Mobile for $0 down payment and $20 a month for 24 months. The one thing I'm not exactly happy with is the smaller screen. So the question is this, is the Samsung S7 still worth buying at this time? Thanks, Mike.
I would say for Mike, if he's used to a Note, he's still not going to like the smaller screen. So I think he answered his own question there. He needs to go with something with a screen size. If he's used to the Note 3 and he's okay with that, stick with that screen size. That's my opinion for that.
My opinion is, Mike, don't buy a Samsung device. You're going to be sorry. That's just me.
Yeah,
okay. Right. But I'll say this. The biggest difference is going from a Note 3 to anything 7, 8 or up, whatever. You know what I mean? The screen to body ratio is going to be an extreme difference. So while that S7 might be technically a smaller screen because the screen to phone ratio is so much bigger, it's not going to feel as small. I guarantee you that. Yes, it's going to be smaller. Also, the pixel density is going to be much better and the resolution is going to be better. So I would actually encourage you to go into the store and hold the S7 for a couple minutes if you can, at least 3 minutes, and play with it. And then see how you really feel, because you might not notice it as much as you think you might notice it. perception is reality, Mike. That's all that matters. 2, the S8 active phones, quote unquote, are fine. They really are fine. Here's the kicker. If you get an active phone, the first thing you really should do is cancel your insurance. This phone can handle like 3-foot drops. It can handle 3 feet of water, and it can handle like no dust ever getting in it whatsoever. So nothing in this phone should ever break. That should save you like $7 to $13 a month. Something like that. $130 down, you're not okay with. $30 a month, you're okay with. Here's the thing. Put the $30 in your pocket. Next month, put another $30 in your pocket. Next month, put 30 more bucks in your pocket. And then decide to go to the store and pay the $130 up front because you've already saved the $30 each month for 3 months. Do not pay that $30 a month. That is too much money. That is too much money.
So, all right. You ask one question in this email. I will answer the one question that you ask. Is the Samsung S7 still worth buying at this time? Yes.
It's fine.
It's as worth buying this month as it was last month. It's as worth buying now as it was the day it came out. It's the same device. The device didn't change just because a new device came out. Is the S7 worth buying at this time? Yes. Now, the question you didn't ask. Do not buy your phone from phone carriers ever.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're talking about, if add it up, dude, do the math. You're looking at paying $850 for the Samsung S8 if you follow that plan.
Yeah.
Now that's market price, right? The phone runs $750 to $800, so you're not overpaying too much for it. But don't do it. You are locked in to a payment plan. You don't know what's going to happen 24 months from now. You don't know what's going to happen 24 hours from now. Don't make that kind of commitment. That's ridiculous. Say no. It's a stupid idea. I'm not saying you're stupid, Michael. I'm saying buying phones from carriers is a stupid thing to do.
Swappa.com.
Swappa.com, T-Mobile, Samsung Galaxy S7. Let me see, 32 gigabytes, $190.
So,
wow, period. And now here's the other thing. The S7 from anywhere is going to be an S7. You get no bonuses buying it from T-Mobile unless you call bloatware on the phone a bonus. So I'm with Mark when I say I will never in my life walk into a store in America, and buy a phone ever again because of the contentment I get from the other side of the counter, from waiting 2 hours in the store typically, and then from getting the extra bloatware that's on top of it. And then I'm locked into it. I will always buy my devices from Swappa or GearBest or something else because the prices they charge in US stores, every time you go into a store and buy anything, and here's the honest God truth, here's why Amazon's winning. You walk into a store, Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, whatever. You walk into a store, you got to remember, every penny you spend has to go towards lights, ground rent, maintenance, employees, insurance, and everything else. So the company has to charge you to cover all of that before that company even gets a dime, even gets a fraction of a penny back. So they have to charge you too much. That's just the honest truth. They have to charge you too much. And they're not going to look at you and say, hey, Mike, we're going to cut you a deal. No. And if they tell you they're cutting you a deal, they're lying through their teeth. They can't cut you a deal. They have to do what's right by the shareholders, which is charge you everything they can possibly charge you.
So that T-Mobile store, if he pays over the time, is $480. If he doesn't get any insurance on it, which he's locked in for a contract. So if he breaks it, he can't just go buy another one as easily without still having to pay that $20 a month. So would you say $190 on Swappa? Never pay insurance on it.
Well, you can then go to squaretrade.com, opt into it, and pay $6 a month.
But he's looking
at the exact same insurance.
$50 more than the down payment on an S8, and he owns a phone that he doesn't have to have insurance if he doesn't want to, and he never has to make a payment on.
Right, and no bloatware.
Go that way, Mike. Go that way. That's our. You asked. That's all right.
Yeah, I just the American mentality, and it's not just American, but I'm an American, so it's like you can yell at your own family, right? The American mentality of I can afford the payment has got to go. If you can't afford the device, you can't afford the device. Paying it out over 24 months doesn't mean you can afford the device. That's not a thing. If you can't afford $800 for an S8 Active, you can't afford an S8 Active. Just accept that reality. Stop paying your future away for something you can't afford. If you need a payment plan, you can't afford it.
Right. And if you need something right now, buy like the Moto E or the Moto G for now, and then save your money, and then buy a device. Buy a better device if you want. But yeah, my wife, I love her, dear. I love her so much, but she will never listen to anything I say. She's paying, I think it's $12 or $14 a month for a Samsung J7, which the J stands for jank. And this phone is horrible. It's horrible. And I showed her how much she was going to end up paying for it. And then I showed her phones on Swap, and she said, it's just easier. It's all wrapped up in one bill. And she's not wrong. And I can't tell her she's wrong because I love her dearly. And then she said, why don't you pick out a phone here? I said, over my dead body. And then I stopped and thought, I sound like my dad.
I'm so happy to have all my family on Project Fi now. Our bill is $89 a month for 4 phones, and we don't have any of those unusual, unnecessary charges or contracts.
Yeah, that's why I like T-Mobile. No contract. And my wife was giving away my Netflix username and password to too many people, is the way I put it. Too many damn people. Well, with T-Mobile, the plan we have now, we get a free Netflix account. Fine. I said, if you cancel my account, I will slit your neck. Okay? You get that free T-Mobile account, you give that account to your father, to your brother, to anybody. I don't care. But stop giving my account away, because every time I open my account up, it's poisoned by
there's suggestions.
Yes, because like my youngest son will not stop watching the cartoon series Home, based off the bad movie with the bad Sheldon guy in it. And then the father-in-law, I love him. I respect the man. He was in the military for 30 years, glorified. He worked for blood, sweat, and tears for this country, but his taste of softcore porn I just can't stand it anymore. So I don't want them on my account anymore. I'm sick and tired. When I want to go in and watch gorgeous ladies of wrestling or something, I don't want to see.
Speaking of softcore porn.
Yeah, I know. I'm a hypocrite, Mark. I'm an American. That's what I'm supposed to do. So, I mean, there are certain perks. And here's the thing. Without net neutrality, okay, because of what T-Mobile did, it's technically against the open internet, where it gives us YouTube bits for free.
Yep.
I kind of like that. Now, if I wasn't getting that, I would say that's wrong of them to do, man. They shouldn't do that kind of thing. That's just insulting. But because I get it, I'm like, hey, that looks pretty good to me. Yep, go ahead and watch YouTube, kids. Love it.
Never mistake a generosity for some for an entitlement to all.
Mm-hmm. I'm guilty.
We're running long. I was gonna bring up Project Fi's new plan too.
What a ripoff! Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud?
But we'll talk about it next week.
I would be all in on Project Fi if I didn't have to buy the super expensive devices to get it.
Yeah,
the Moto 4X, Moto 4X. That's not too expensive.
Or good.
Or
well, yeah, true.
All right. So let's wrap up this mini series event. What's your name? The guy I'm looking at, Eric. Yeah, that's it. You got any final words of wisdom for us tonight?
If you guys are in Orlando or around the Orlando area coming up in February, come to Podfest 2018 and we'll see you there. I want to thank our listeners for listening and supporting the show and telling their friends about it. It's growing. It's a good thing. And thank you for your Patreon subscriptions and things like that, so we don't have to advertise for toothbrushes on our show about tech.
Or mortgages. That's a big thing these days. Tech shows talking about mortgages.
Yeah.
All right, Dor, what about you? What are your final words of wisdom?
And tax software. And that's what I was going to say. If you notice something, Mark, I noticed something. We didn't stop every 20 minutes and talk about something that we genuinely don't care anything about for like 3 to 5 minutes. Sometimes do, which would have equated to 5 ad breaks in this show. 5 stinking ad breaks, which would have equated to almost 10 minutes at least of content of taking up your listeners' valuable time, selling you off as a product, like a slave. That's what it's like. Treating listeners like slaves for a promotional process. And we at Podnutz here try to never do that. Certain companies we actually support and we want to promote ads for. They don't sell mortgages. They don't sell mattresses. They don't sell cars. None of those companies are on Podnutz. And I hope with anything in my power, we'll never be on Podnutz. So if you want to make sure Podnutz keeps growing, if you want to make sure Podnutz keeps doing this type of content, if you want to make sure we do not have to rely on underhanded tactics about lying about our statistics like everybody else in the universe does to try to get more ad sponsors to pay more money per each listener, then you only have one real choice, and that is to support those who support you. You can go and you can donate us money via PayPal, or you can go to patreon.com/Android App Addicts and support this show directory. And if you don't have the money, don't sweat it. Send us an email. That's support.
And yeah, the tub says AAA brought to you by Monster Energy Drink. I would do a Monster.
I love Monsters. I'm gonna tell you now. If there was an app on my phone that I could install that would spy on me, but every day I would earn a Monster, shoot, brother, I'd have 2 phones.
As long as it's a white Monster, sugar free, I'm down.
Well, no. Well, it could be white. It could be Ultra Sunrise. That one's good too, I think.
Those are all disgusting, in my opinion. So I could not support a Monster energy drink ad. But
more Monsters for me.
I have a GoDaddy subscription problem, so I would have no problem hawking their services because I give roughly a quarter of my paycheck every month to GoDaddy for the dozens of domains I own. I have a domain issue. I need an intervention. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us. Chat room, you were awesome tonight. You can go to podnutz.com/live. I believe that's the right URL. Any Tuesday night, sometime around 9 p.m. Eastern time. And Thursday night, sometime around, actually probably Tuesday nights too, around 9 p.m. Eastern time, and join the chat room, join the tub, as it's suddenly been called. So we welcome you to do that. And Eric, you had something else you wanted to say.
One more thing. What was our episode number? 494? 496. So 4 episodes away now from 500. And I just wanted to make a mention real quick. If you install the Watchmaker watch app, one of our listeners, Mark Seralt, has made the official Android App Addicts episode number 500 watch face in anticipation of that episode. I forgot to mention it earlier.
Thank you, Mark. And Mark. And Eric. And the tub people, the Tubians.
We'll have to find a good name for the nuts tub or something like that. That's not the good name, but something about that.
All right. Well, I think the only thing I can do at this point for the good of the country, for the good of the world at large, is end this show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week, because that's it for this episode of Android App Addicts.
Do you want to record the intro part, Mark?
Yeah. Let me think of something.
Oh, man. Oh, crikey. No, not Bear Nuts Tub. No. No, shame on you.
Can I brand my bath bombs? Somehow Podnutz branded bath bombs. Nut bombs. Nuts. Nuts.
You lost me, bro. You're coming in staticky. I can't hear you anymore.
All right, here we go. I'm ready to do my thing.
Okay.
Are you still recording?
Yes, I'm still recording.
Oh, sorry.
Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 Android app addicts in a tub tonight. Door rants, Mark rants, and Eric shills for Monster Energy drink. That and more on Android App Addicts.
Very well done, sir. Very well done.
First, save the project. You know, I used to be a fan of oh my god, I can't remember the name of the show. Dummy.
Dummy?
What show is that, Mark?
TV show?
Yeah. The guy always said dummy. His son.
You big dummy. My kids say that to me a lot. You big dummy.
What was the show? Sanford and Son.
Yeah, there it is.
Here comes the show titles. Podnutz. I like that. I might be able to put a Podnutz logo on my bath bombs.
3D print a case for him.
I got 3D print a mold for them. Yep. Yeah, 3D print cases
It's
for
a little
him
Android.
to ship out.
You open up his head and 3 bath bombs are inside.
Oh yeah, you open up or you pop them open. Yeah, they like shoot out his mouth, neck hole. That's good. Yeah, man, it's a thing.
Yes, for some reason neck hole that didn't do it for me. Let's stay away from that one, shall we?
Does an Android have a mouth?
A flappy head like a Canadian from South Park.
yes. The South Park Canadians are the best, man. Oh, Terrence.
I remember when I had the epiphany that the guy's little brother was adopted because he's Canadian, because he had a flappy head, the little baby.
I
remember thinking,
not Kyle.
I can't remember which kid it is, but his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh my, he's Canadian. Don't kick the baby.
Yeah. What is his name? Because it's slightly like Hitlerish, I think, or something, isn't it?
Can't remember.
If only you'd said that during the show, that could be the show title. Slightly Hitlerish.
Slightly Hitler-ish.
Because if you put Kyle, it's Ike. Because it's Kike. If you put Kyle and Ike put together.
Oh,
yeah.
All righty.
You never knew that. That's right.
Nope, never did. Thank you, Eric. I needed that.
And those, I think those are the Jewish kids.
Yes, of course. Why wouldn't they be?
Okay, here comes some show titles. You've been listening to a podcast all this time. Why is my phone doing that?
Oh, that was me when Door still had the earplug in his ear.
Yeah. My phone just opened up like it heard me say something. We were breaking.
You call this show Pump and Go Inside? I quit.
I cannot call it that.
Bring them. We were breaking some.
Okay, so now.
Oklahoma's only windy because Louisiana sucks.
That is a great line, Mark. I'm sorry. I have never heard that before. It's fantastic. I heard, oh man, I wasn't ready for that either. That was just good.
Eric, there are people out there that love goats and marry them.
There are. The same people that voted for Britney Spears in the Grammys too. But I don't think I missed any apps, Mark.
Well, it's just 4. It's pretty low bar tonight.
Okay, well I have 5.
I threw in the one from the email.
Oh.
Living Wine Label, DuckDuckGo, Libby, Google Play, HQ Trivia, and OmniProbe.
Yeah, the Libby was the one we didn't actually talk about.
Oh, good. I'm happy I didn't miss any.
Pump and Go Inside. Somebody's paying the juice on my convenience.
I think it was for my convenience, but yeah.
Oh man.
Suck all the information off of it. A thug's moral dilemma. Well, these are coming fast and hard from the tub, man.
Dang. He's been writing them down all too long.
It's now called We Don't Give a Crap. City clerks and notorious wine drinkers. Door nails anonymity.
Anonymity.
Eric scores hooker crack.
Yeah, you can't use that one because I only typed it in the chat room. The make it happen door.
Make it happen door?
Yeah.
Tub chat.
Podnutz.com.
Yeah.
Set it up. Make it happen. Just link it to the chat room web UI.
We've all played with balloons, right?
He might be too happy if I do that, Mark. You can't. If you make everybody happy, then they're going to expect too much. Did I tell you?
It's an record. Just do it.
I know. Did I tell you, or did Steve ever tell you his philosophy about show notes and emails and stuff?
I don't think so. And probably, but I can't think of it.
One of the things he did in the beginning was he purposefully never put email addresses in show notes ever. And I remember, like, off and on for like 3 months, dude, why don't you put your email address? It'd be much easier for people to contact you. He said, you don't understand. You can't make it that easy for people to email you, because then you get all kinds of idiots emailing you. You have to make it take a bit of work, because if it takes a bit of work, then only the people that really want to contact you are going to contact you. And then as the show went on, what he did was he literally, when we ran out of emails, he would put the email address in the notes. And then when we had too many emails, he stopped putting the email address in the notes. And it took me like a year plus to figure out what he was doing. And I said, how come all of a sudden there's no email address in the notes? He's like, well, because we have enough. I thought to myself, I can't tell if you're a genius or you're an idiot.
I like, hey, Eric, you know how you felt about BB Tan? Yeah, I don't feel anything like that.
A little long.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh my goodness, my shoulder, man. You need to take some more crap.
We've all played with balloons, right? I like that's a good show title too.
That caught me off guard. Balloons? What? Oh, balloons. Stretchy,
unless you call bloatware on a phone a bonus. That's good too.
That's my best analogy for write fatigue on media.
I can't think of anything more like a parent, maybe is the word I guess I use. Because I was thinking like a kitchen sponge, but you can use that hundreds and hundreds of times where you don't really notice it.
Yeah, I was going to go with just I will slit your neck. I thought that would be a good show title. I will slit your neck.
You can't, Mike. Yeah. I love her. I love her dearly. But so has me God.
I'll cut you.
Yeah.
His taste of softcore porn. I just can't take it anymore. I don't remember that.
I just get like weird, like cheerleading horror movie stuff. What the hell is this?
Like a red hot summer or something like that, or
it's just bad. I don't know. Summer. I don't look directly at it, Eric.
Of course, one I said following that was, speaking of softcore porn, that would be a good show title.
Yeah. If you guys hear one that you think should be it, just tell me.
I like 30 minutes one app.
30 minutes one app. Well, it's true.
Yeah, that's cool.
J is for Jank. The second man in the tub likes that one.
Yeah. Because it is, man. That phone is bad. That phone is really bad. Every morning I gotta turn it on and log in because she now insists on driving some days into work instead of me, and it's like I was just using the phone. This is so slow. This is a piece of crap.
Steve C hated posts with uneven volume levels like Mark is now. My volume level is wrong.
Doesn't sound wrong to me, but he was unbelievably particular about certain aspects of audio. Yes.
Doug's more dilemma.
Doug's moral. Oh yeah, that was a good line, Eric. For the first time in his life.
I'm only sitting here because there was something I was either going to tell you or ask you. I can't remember what it is.
Well, if you need me to cut the live feed.
I can't remember. No, it wasn't that. It was.
What are we going to call our chat room now? Tubbers, Tubnuts, or Pod Tubbies?
How about we use natural selection, Eric?
Yeah.
We use the prime directive. We don't directly interfere. We just observe. And we let them come up with what they think is the best. Because if we pick something, somebody in there will say, well, I like this one better.
Yeah, no, that's their call. They can
That's pretty good, though.
Think about it.
I'm not going to argue either way with anything. Sure, yeah, great. Yep, you're right.
So the original guy in the tub says, pretty spendy $10 bottle of wine, a thug's moral dilemma. It's a combo. That's a combo that works, though. I do like the way they go together. Tub casting. That's awesome.
Tub casting. Jeez. I don't want that image in my head.
Tub casting is a new vowel.
I think that would be hilarious if we all did a show from the tub one time. Just all three of our cameras.
I'm down, dude.
I would come out too wrinkly.
I'll turn my jets off just to keep the background noise off, but I'm in. I spend some time in my tub.
I've never used our tub. We've been here 2 years. I've never used it. There's something about stewing in a tepid vat of your own filth that just doesn't appeal to me.
Did you grow up with a shower? Did you have a shower as a kid?
No, tubs, and that's why I hated it.
Exactly. It's like this water doesn't look the same as it's now, and then I think,
now let me wash my hair.
Yeah, tub life forever.
And then I stop and think, don't bacteria and stuff like warm places? Well, crap, I can't have a tub of cold water.
I'm going to turn clear water brown and then wash my hair in it. Yeah. All right, I'm out, guys. Always a pleasure.
Thanks, Mark.
What's your vote on the names, Mark?
30 minutes, one app. That's my vote.
30 minutes, one app. Okay.
But there's some real gold in there. You just got to dig for it a little.
Okay.
As you would with gold.
So we're good. We're on for next week. It's the week after, right? That we're not.
Yes.
Is it 2 weeks from now? That's all it is.
Yes. Next week is the 1st. The week after that's the 8th.
Oh man, I better start fake baking. I'm just gonna stand out like a sore thumb.
How do you think I am, dude? They're gonna think I have a disease. I'm so pale.
Snowbirds, they're used to that.
Yeah. AKA, they're gonna want to pickpocket me. All right, Mark.
Later, chat room.
See you later, Mark.
I gotta rebookmark all these links. I'm gonna cut the stream. If I don't cut the stream, then I can't save the audio.
Whoa, that was a throwback. Wow. He called them chat room. Yeah. We've moved on from that.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
I should probably transcode my audio and all that stuff. I'm too busy reading the tub.
Triggered. You said trans.
Don't cut the stream. I don't have any reason to cut the stream.
I have to sooner or later, or else I can't upload the damn show.
Can't upload the show, Tub. Can't upload the show, Tub.
Patreoners. The patronees. I don't know what the official word for that is now that I stop thinking about it.
Tub room, man.
Patrons just sounds Patreons just sounds too. I don't know.
Patrons.
Oh my goodness. I gotta stop yawning. I really do want to call out of work tomorrow, Eric.
Yeah, I've had a rough week, man. My deputy was on vacation all week, and my payroll girl caught the flu.
Oh, flu, man. This year the flu is like crazy. I'm so happy I don't have to deal with that. Nobody in our house has called it, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm good so far.
I know it's only a matter of time. Tick, 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 tick.
I don't know, man. It seems to me that the people who got the shot this year are getting the flu. So so far so good.
I can tell you that's not happening. Because everybody in my house got the shot.
That's good. You guys stayed away from it too. I was worried when I went to that big town, all these, and then there's just like hundreds of Japanese flight attendants in my hotel. Like, no, what?
I worry about going to Orlando.
They were just they all had the same outfit on. Their hair was all done. They had the same scarf. It was like a military takeover of the lounge of the lobby of the hotel by Japanese airline flight attendants. It was pretty cool. I liked it. I was impressed by their attention to detail.
Well, you know. There you go. That's what I was looking for. I really do feel like I'm just going to fall out, man. I can take, man. That's the thing, Eric. I saw a gift today.
You did not see a gift today.
I did. And it was a dog with a thing around his neck. And above it, it said, "How you feel when you eat no sugars and no carbs." And the dog had a sign around his neck, and behind the dog there's drywall with a hole in it like that big, and it said, "I ate the drywall." And that's how it feels to not have.
Oh, dude, I imagine
any. I mean, I'm like 3, most of the time 4 grams of sugar a day. For a couple days, I'm up to 6 or 8 or whatever, and then most days I'm below 50 grams of carbs.
Every year I buy my wife the dog shaming calendar. So it's one of those calendars where you tear off a sheet every day. Yep. And each one of them is a dog with a sign around its neck about what it just did and looking all guilty.
Okay. Like what?
Like, I'm hiding in the bathroom because I'm afraid of the oven. Stuff like that. Just that's a Tubtastic story door. It's gonna be like Smurfy in there.
It is. It is. Smurftastic. Brett from the Makers thought he was going to be able to make it to Lennox Fest Northwest, but
nice.
Cody isn't sure he's going to be able to make it.
How can Cody? Where's Cody live?
Cody lives in Oregon, right by Salem, Oregon.
Well, then, somebody could just drive over and snag him for whatever he's got going on that day.
No, that. And Martin isn't even sure he can make it.
Martin? Didn't they move it to Seattle just so he could be there?
No. Martin hired somebody. He's thinking he might have to hire a second person. So busy.
That's good. If he can still make a profit when he hires them, then good for him. That's growth. That's good.
All right. And in the chat room, tub room, I don't know what's worse, Ajax or drywall dust.
Yeah, I don't know which would be more authentic looking.
I don't know, but I always remember Ajax from
Cheech and Chong.
Still Smoking, maybe?
Yeah. Did he cut it with that or just straight?
No, just straight.
Dust.
Just straight dust. Drywall.
Great. That works good for about an hour probably. Then you're getting your butt kicked.
Oh yeah. I'll put it like this. I'm 99% sure I'm still going to Lennox Vex Northwest, even if those guys don't. The question is, am I flying into Oregon and then driving up with them in a rental? Am I flying to SeaTac, getting my own rental? Or am I going to try to fly right into Bellingham, which is expensive?
Is it in Bellingham again?
It's always in Bellingham.
Oh, okay. I was listening to something. I thought they said it was not in Bellingham.
No, I'm 99% sure it's still Bellingham.
Okay. No, you're probably right.
Bellingham Technical College.
It was a good time. I used to not have to worry about vacation because
I know. Timing's everything.
I didn't make any money.
I am not going to Vancouver. Number one, I'm not leaving this friggin' country because you never know when you're not going to be able to get back in. I'm just saying that out loud. Okay. I don't want to see most other countries. People say, I want to go to Paris. Screw that. Last thing I want to do is go to Paris. No. I'd rather go to Paris, Texas. At least you get good barbecue. I don't want to go into Vancouver.
I would go. I'd go to Australia.
That story was not talked. What's in Australia?
Different animals.
So you can see men that beat women and animals that want to kill you.
Go hang out with Mel Gibson.
I'm just saying they have the highest rate of domestic violence of any first world country. Just saying. And yeah, so many animals down there want to kill you. I mean, it's a lot. Let the water out of the tub with that. That's a good line. I'm sorry. But I don't want to go. What's in Vancouver? Canucks? I mean, that's it. What else? I mean, do they have good cheese? I can't even eat a cheesesteak. So it doesn't matter if they have good cheesesteaks. And if you try to tell me they have good crab cakes, I swear my foot will go right up your butt. Because they don't. They have horrible crab cakes. I mean, seriously, I don't know anything that's in Vancouver or Canada, friend. I mean, Canada. I mean, I don't know. I can con you to come to Bellingham. And John Newstetter. Honestly, Josh, I'll say this: if you ever have the opportunity to hang out with John Newstetter and you pass it up, you are so stupid. I'll say that because he is one of the smartest yet nicest guys I've ever met, and I will always go out of my way to hang with him. And he is in Canada. He is in some Canadian. He's born Canadian in some Canada town. I can't remember what it is. He once in a while comes to OLF. He's just an awesome guy. Just unbelievably cool, unbelievably nice, unbelievably mellow, and common sense at the same time. He likes to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really a traveler. That's one of the things. I'm really not a traveler. I go to these conferences just because, if I don't go to Orlando, I'm not going to see Steve C. If I don't go to Linux Fest Northwest, there's no chance I'll see Aaron, Chuck, Martin, Cody, Josh, Salsay, or any of them people. So I got to, or else I'm never going to see them. I mean, the only reason I went to Chicago was to hang out with people I knew. That was a good time. I dropped the phone like 6 times. It was a good time.
Got to watch Lollapalooza evacuate and assemble.
Yeah, man, that storm was something. That thing was almost like a natural disaster. Oh my goodness. Man. I'm hurting. So is that your pick? Eric, or do you have any overriding sentiment of the name of the show?
No, that's fine.
No?
What was it?
Like I say to my son, it's not fine. Hair is fine.
I pick it all the time. Let Mark have it. It's cool.
Get in the tub and let's chat.
I'm going to have that on the back of my shirt. Or put Podnutz underneath it. I need to get a shirt made. Get in the tub and let's chat.
Where are you getting a shirt made?
I don't know. I'm going to go find out. I got monogram shops and shit around here. I sent them some money, so they'll hook me up. Strippers.
It is not really cold. Today actually wasn't too bad. Let me see what the temperature is.
No, today wasn't bad here either. It actually, dude, we had the brutalest winter this year.
Ours, when it was hard, it was hard. But we had like very light snow and stuff. Right now it's 25.
We have never had this many days of below zero weather that I can remember. It's 33 degrees here right now.
Right.
I'm walking to work tomorrow.
It's 25 here. Every day I've came down for the last 2 or 3 months. I'm down here long enough to where I literally can't feel my fingertips.
The power, they will hook me up. Are those aren't show items, are they? From the show? Those aren't show title things from the show, are they?
No, you're the power of the clerk.
Oh, over the hookers, over the strippers?
Why not?
There is a strip joint called Dirty 30. Well, we call it Dirty 30. It's called Candyland or something. Candyland or it's called the Candy Factory.
Does it serve beer 30?
I think you bring your own beer.
Oh, that's the best kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he sent me a picture. The one tree looked pretty damn big. It fell over. Sounds like you got some soil problems, eh?
Got some firewood though, eh? I'll take off, you knob.
I love Strange Brew. That's a great movie.
That was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, man. That was
that
and Arthur. I don't know. I was just destined to be an alcoholic, I think.
I'm going to tell you though, you got to watch the beginning of Strange Brew again just for one point of irony. One of the things, Kay, since the times of like Greeks and Romans, parents have said, kids today, oh, they got it so easy. You know what I mean? It's just a fact. That's what humans do. And, when I was a kid, we had so much freedom. We could do this. Now kids, they just stay in that. I mean, everybody in every generation said this. It's just a fact of life. And in that movie, like 3 minutes into it, they go into the beer factory and a guy complains how automation is taking everyone's jobs. And I thought, this is perfect. That this is once again returned to the pedestal of movie perfection as far as I'm concerned, because they complain about something that really doesn't exist. And everyone complains about it though. I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah. Elsinore Brewery.
Yes. And the dad and the dog. The dad. You know who the voice of the dad was?
I don't remember the dog and the dad.
But you only saw the dad for a split second, and the two guys. What are their names? I can't remember their names anymore.
Ed or no, Bob and Doug McKenzie.
That sounds right. The mom and the dad. One of them was the dad. One of them was the mom in wigs and stuff. And just because all it was a flash, because they walked in the room when they were having sex, and it was just a flash. You saw that all you know was they were ugly. The dog was who they kept giving beer to because the dog kept like defending the beer because he wanted more beer. But yeah, that and the voice of it though, the voice of the dad was, oh God, I'm trying to remember, Mel Blanc, the famous voice from all the cartoons.
Oh, you're really pretty. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Yeah, he said that. Yeah. Hoser. I should have brought that instead of the Idiocracy.
Take off to the gray white north. Take off. It's a beauty way to go.
That movie's so good. And then for no damn reason, the dog started flying. Yeah. What the hell just happened? What is this movie? It's obvious they got to a point in the writing where they said, we got to finish this, eh? We just got to find a way to end this movie, man. Okay, so how about if the dog flies? What?
I forgot so much of that movie.
Oh, man.
Old Milwaukee has Pinup Girls door, in case you're down for something different.
Okay, how about you track the nutritional information for that beer? Okay. And I'm going to bet money you're going to see sugars greater than 0.
Nope, because there's none. There's no nutritional information.
That means it was on a 6-pack or case. So hold like this, the Goog, because the Goog does autocomplete.
Joseph Schlitz Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee. Nutritional facts. And this is not light beer, correct? Right?
Huh?
This is not light beer.
Nope. This is Old Milwaukee American Lager.
Oh, sugar 0, carb 17. Still not drinking it. Tastes like crap.
Sugar 0?
A lot of alcohol actually has no sugar, but I was just gambling.
At a high school party, I was making out with a Mexican exchange student at a mountain party. High school party. She proceeded to vomit. Is it a high school party or is it a mountain party? I decided not to continue the makeout session after. What the hell is wrong with me?
I'm going to cut the feed.
Yeah, just tell her to go rinse off and get back to work.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's too many parties in one story. I think the water's starting. He's got too much steam going into his pores or something.
Let me see these settings really quick.
Are you trying to find the inequalities in our audio on the YouTube stream?
No, I'm hoping. See, I want bigger buttons down there.
Everybody pukes, man.
That's how you know you drank enough, eh?
Sometimes, she might have been coming down with something. She might have been warmer than normal. A little fever. It's not all bad.
I got the fever. And the only thing that can fix it is more cowbell.
I've never owned a cowbell. I've had drum sets and I've never owned a cowbell.
I don't see any way. I do not see any way to increase those button sizes.
I just want the truth, man. He says I'm being a dick. Maybe
because you're not going to Linux Fest Northwest. On purpose.
I always put it backwards. It's like Northwest Linux Fest. I don't know why I say that.
Because it's right. I don't know.
So we found this mouse in a bottle of Elsinore beer, eh?
That's right.
My brother Bob almost drank it.
That was their excuse to try to get free beer for life.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to kill the stream. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thanks, Tubbs.